What's up, everybody? It's your favorite Hunt for Red October's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the MechFansToys Jiao. I don't know, dude. It's a submarine of sorts. Actually, it's got it right there, tampoed. This was sent to me by Joel W. He was sending me a ton of stuff, right? It's not like I went out of my way for this, or he went out of his way for this. He sent me the Bruticus. He sent me this Astrotrain that we're gonna look at soon. And he was like, look, while I'm sending this, there's basically room in the box for this thing. Would you like to take a look at it? And I was like, no, but I'm sure there's people that watch my channel that would, so therefore, since it's not something extra, go ahead and put her in the box, so to speak. So in order to get this box back to him safely, I need to get this thing reviewed. So that's what we're doing. We're gonna talk about it. We're just gonna kind of show it, go through it, give you my impressions on it. But in order to do any of that, we gotta talk about accessories. So you get these two little armatures, and you have two hinges, and the kind of hands on them are painted silver. They plug into the bottom here, and they're with tension clips, so I'm a little hesitant to mess with it. Not that the materials feel bad or anything, but just like I'm gonna have to, release that tension, so to speak, to get this back into its box. And I just don't want to cause any damage. But let me raise that up a bit. There you go. So that's cool. I'm guessing that this thing has some real historical significance. We'll talk about why as we go through it, but I'm guessing this is based on a real thing. I've got some questions out to some folks right now, and I'll see if I get an answer in a timely fashion. But yeah, there that is. It comes with these two small fans. They're just blue plastic, sculpted well enough. In the instructions, it shows one plugging in here to the side, and then another one plugging in back here. But I don't see a way for that to really be possible, so I would guess that you're just supposed to plug them both into each side. It comes with these two kind of roll cages, for lack of a better term, protectors, and they're for the fans, and they're painted silver, and they just plug in over top of the fans on the side here, and I guess, sort of make sure that nothing bumps into them while the submarine is in motion in the ocean, you know what I'm saying? There you go. It comes with this light bar and painted silver, really nice sculpt work, and then it has the yellow lights all painted on it as well. And this tabs into the front here, so you can kind of see what you're working on. I know that was out of focus, but there you go. And lastly, it comes with this weapon with this harpoon. The harpoon is just like a gray plastic, kind of keeps up with the motif of, the nautical motif. And then you can just insert that into here. And, you can even have it out a bit depending on your kind of personal aesthetic choices. And then we had this kind of nice silver paint on it. And that's about it. As far as I can tell, there's no way to attach this to the submarine. I'm guessing that has something to do with not wanting to taint the historical relevance of this thing. Once again, not 100% sure, but yes. He'll hold it in his three fingers here. It's not the best fit in the world, but he will hold it. Lastly, and you guys know I don't usually cover stuff like this, but this is the reason why I think it might be something with some real historical importance. This looks like a postcards, and like this looks like art to me, but this looks more like a photograph. And all of us say you will always be the pride of China. And this sort of stuff interests me. Like that looks like a photograph, right? So anyway, I don't know much about it. I mean, I barely know anything about American history, let alone Chinese history, but that's kind of cool to me, just conceptually. Like if, like if we made something for the Challenger or something, I don't know, the Bradley tank, or like something that was like kind of has some historical importance for us. I don't know. I find that cool, kind of just, in a concept manner. Gimmick wise, it does have a feature where there's this light underneath, and then you put it down in, and I think it's supposed to light up, but let me turn this off here. But because there's a it doesn't work at all. I guess there's a little bit coming through. I doubt you guys can even see that. Maybe you can. So it's not really effective. But it's definitely on, and definitely supposed to be effective. I don't know why I always talk like all my viewers like live next door. Not only Americans, sometimes sometimes I talk like you're all from Maryland too. Like it's like yeah, Jimmy's is good, but it's kind of overrated. And like, dude, I live in Omaha. Anyway, all right, so here we go. This thing, I think it's actually pretty cool. The accessory things I think are especially cool. You have Tampo paint on here with the China, and then this Jiao Long, which I think is the name of this toy, and the Chinese flag, and like, you know, a little plastic breakup and probably some paint variations in there as well between the orange and the white, and it looks good. I will say that if this is supposed to be this thing, which is another reason why I think it might be a real thing. Where's that one? Here. Like, this to me looks like a shark. Like, the shape of it looks like a shark, and obviously they're trying to get the shape here, but it doesn't quite come to the same point. You know, because in the pictures, the kind of nose sits over top and this bit sits underneath, and it kind of gives off more of a shark vibe. Whereas this one kind of doesn't do that. And that's a bummer, because that's a cool design, and this looks a little less cool, I will say, as a result. But still pretty cool. I like all the little handles here. And I think this thing is, like, I think like a human could stand here, maybe? Like, I think this thing is huge. I get the impression anyway, but it's hard to tell from the pictures and stuff. I don't know, I'm going to research this thing now. Like, I'm into it. You got the same kind of fans that you have on the back here, and then the fins. And I don't know, it's all pretty cool. Like, well, you know, watch it end up being something terrible that I'm like sitting here saying like, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like some historical thing that, I don't know, killed kids or something. And I'm like, oh, sorry. But hopefully not. Hopefully it's, you know, this has the pride of China. So hopefully it's something that was, you know, that meant something to them and ends up looking cool. I dig it. I think it's a good looking thing. I wish the nose looked more like a shark, but other than that, I'm pretty good with it. And so is Tiger Tracks. All right, so let's get this thing transformed, and we'll start with opening up this. A lot of this depends on opening up and loosening up these panels here. So we're gonna open up and get as much out of the way as we can. We're gonna start with these two back panels here in an attempt to kind of raise this up all the way. I'm having a little bit of problems here, so I'm gonna just stop. But you'll see, like, you know, just to pull off the shape of this thing, everything has to kind of fit, you know, just right. So just look for the tabs. A lot of things are on, you know, double hinges and so forth in order to kind of, you know, pull off the shape. Just release them as you can and do your best to keep everything open. We have a section down here as well that we can begin to loosen up, I believe. There. And once you get it, you know, then you're good. But it's just because it has to form into this sort of circular shape. It just takes a little bit of work in order to release everything. So now that you've got all these panels open, we can start to kind of make some of this take shape. Let's get this bottom plate tabbed in. Underneath, you can see those two tabs there, and just keep moving the legs around as you do. And these eventually become kind of chicken legs. So get them there and then rotate them back and rotate your foot so that the bars are on the side. And that's your legs. You can also go here and untab your shoulders, and you see there's another tab inside there that will turn around and correspond with the front of the vehicle, and that'll start to make your arms take shape. You can open up the hands here, and you know, like I said, the hardest part of this is 1000% getting everything initially kind of loosened up and untabbed. Bring your panels here up and over so that it just makes it a little bit more, you know, tighter of a silhouette. It's a shame that it covers up that Tampo paint, because that was quite nice, but yeah. All right, there you go. Open up the fingers on this side as well. Boom and boom. Take your tail fin, use this hinge around to the back, and plug it in. I'll clean it up. We'll take a look at it. So let's look at the figure. Obviously, there's no movement in the face. I guess these kind of make teeth, and those are eyes, or maybe that's the mouth, which is even stranger. But you know, it's the kind of the design we're looking at here. We have these arms. They still move the same with your dual hinges and the swivel at the base. And we do have a waist swivel. And it's ratcheted. just funny to me, but yep, that's there. It's a little, you got to kind of work these thigh plates in order to get the range, but it is there. We have ball peg shoulders, and where they connect, it's kind of a hinge, so you get a reverse butterfly. The kind of extra padding here on the shoulder kind of prevents you from getting a great range, but design cues, right? Plus you get the swivel around for 360. You have a bicep swivel at the elbow. The elbow itself is double hinged because it's pinned here, and then it comes to a ball peg, but it still only gets you about 90 degrees. You have a no wrist swivel, but you do have the fingers. They are independently articulated at a base knuckle and secondary knuckle. And the same for the thumb. Same for the other side, and we do get some gold paint there on the shoulders. Then we have T-jointed ball joints for hips. Little limited, once again, due to the design of the character. And forward and back is no problem. You do have double hinge knees. I think it's supposed to be kind of chicken leg style, but it doesn't mean that you can't just have it straight legged either. It's your world. You bought it. You can do whatever you want. And then we have ball pegs for ankles, and they're on a hinge, which allows a little bit of movement, but nothing really for the ankle tilt up. You get a little bit down, and then you get the rocker. And, you know, I mean, I think it's cool for what it is. If it does have historical, you know, relevance and stuff, I think that that's cool. If it's just some rando thing, then, I mean, it's a well enough made thing, but, like, who cares, you know? But I guess people like novelty stuff, so there you go. Size comparison-wise, there it is next to a Masterpiece car, so hopefully that gives you some sort of idea of what we're dealing with. And just because we're right here, and I got my trusty usual suspects there, there's a Hasbro Legends figure, so hopefully that gives you some sort of idea. Final thoughts wise, let's talk about the negatives. A lot of limited range of motion, even though the engineering is there for articulation. That's because of the design of the character itself. They designed the character, so they could have did whatever they wanted to do, but they may have wanted to keep it within a certain price pocket, and that may be why you don't get much. The other reason is, like, it's a kind of a bummer that there's no real proper face, I feel like, because then you don't really get as much character. It looks a little bit more abstract. Perhaps like that thing that Sigourney Weaver got in at Aliens. But, you know, my nerd doesn't really swing this way in general. Some people nerd out over stuff like this. It just doesn't do much for me, so I may be way off in what people would want out of something like this, which I totally understand, get, and respect. The only other issue that I run into is just getting everything untabbed safely. Just is, it's stressful. Perhaps more stressful for me because I don't want to have to replace this for this dude, but stressful nonetheless. The transformation for the most part is pretty straightforward and no issues, with the exception of getting everything untabbed, and even that is minor. And then it's kind of fun, there's like a fun element to it, which I get. $35 for some fun, I probably would want to put that towards a ticket to an amusement park. That's me. So look, if you like this thing, if you like the design, or if you have some sort of connection to this historical thing that I'm suggesting it has, and once again, have no idea if it does or doesn't, then I can recommend it because it's a pretty well-made thing. It's just, weird and bizarre and obscure, and that might be exactly why someone would want it. Just not this someone. Hope that helps. Definitely one of the strangest things I've looked at. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.